Hello there, I'm Eva Pilgrim. Thanks for streaming with us. Week 3 of testimony in the Sean Diddy Combs trial, starting with the music mogul's former assistant, Capricorn Clark, taking the stand.
Why would we need a 50-foot bed?
I mean, TD Jakes ain't small. I'm just saying. If it's a group thing, it's a group thing. You gotta think about, you got Rick Ross, you got Khaled, we talk about heavy hitters.
Week 3 of the shocking and ever-expanding legal drama surrounding music icon Sean Diddy Combs delivered a moment that sent ripples through both the courtroom and the entire entertainment industry. It wasn't just another procedural day of testimony, it was a turning point. Former assistant Capricorn Clark took the stand, and what she shared left the courtroom speechless and the public scrambling to make sense of the chaos unraveling behind the scenes. Clark didn't just talk about workplace issues or everyday celebrity demands. What she described felt more like something out of a suspense thriller. Her account painted the picture of a world hidden in plain sight, where luxury met intimidation and glamour cloaked something much more unsettling. She began with something seemingly ridiculous, a 50-foot bed. But this wasn't about opulence. According to Clark, the bed wasn't for sleep or status. It was a key part of exclusive after-hours gatherings, with names like Rick Ross and DJ Khaled reportedly involved. These weren't just friends hanging out. These were ultra-private meetups that, as Clark hinted, required that level of space for a reason few dared to say out loud. And this is where the trial begins to feel less like a personal reckoning and more like a deep dive into the alleged inner workings of celebrity culture's most guarded secrets.
One thing Dawn said is after she saw Diddy beat Cassie the next day,
he came in the room
and threatened her.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Dawn is testifying that exactly what she talked about in her civil suit, in addition to some other things that they were in a house in LA in 2009. Diddy beat Cassie because Cassie wasn't finished allegedly making his food on time. And the next day he came in the room to talk to her and her band member, and he basically told them, allegedly that he told them, don't say anything. What y'all saw up there was passion. And when people say stuff about things like this about me, they end up missing.
What started with one woman, Cassie Ventura, bravely speaking out about feeling emotionally controlled and psychologically cornered by someone far more powerful, has snowballed into a courtroom event with potentially industry-shaking consequences. What makes this trial different from past scandals is what's been introduced as courtroom audio, and not just minor clips or ambiguous tapes. Reports say these private recordings are said to involve Diddy himself, along with none other than Will Smith and Meek Mill. These names alone would raise eyebrows, but what truly shocked people was the tone and content of these recordings. Sources inside the courtroom said that what they heard left attendees frozen. No words, no phones, just an air of disbelief. Something serious was captured on those tapes, and it's likely the public hasn't even scratched the surface. Clark continued by detailing moments that moved the courtroom into darker, more emotionally charged territory. She testified that she was twice forced into vehicles without any real say in the matter. One incident stood out. She was allegedly taken to rapper Kid Cudi's house under pressure, not for a meeting or delivery, but during a time of personal conflict. Cassie had been romantically linked to Cudi, and Clark claimed Diddy was furious. The tone wasn't just jealous, it was threatening. According to Clark, she was made to accompany Diddy and one of his bodyguards, with the suggestion that the trip had a sinister undertone. And it didn't stop there. Clark spoke of being placed in what she described as an uncomfortable and isolating situation after jewelry loaned to Diddy went missing. Instead of a routine investigation or legal follow-up, she claimed she was placed under watch and required to take multiple lie detector tests for several days. The space she was taken to wasn't glamorous. It was described as a nearly abandoned office. There, a large man, significantly more physically imposing than Clark, allegedly warned her that failure would come with serious consequences. While no details were made public about the results of those tests, Clark's description of being interrogated and threatened in that environment added a new level of intensity to the trial, one that bordered on psychological coercion. And this is what makes her testimony so critical. She's not speaking in speculation or retelling rumors. She's under oath, placing her words into the official record. That elevates everything. Suddenly, whispers that once floated around industry blogs are now being backed by courtroom records, names, and dates. As if things weren't already overwhelming, the prosecution then introduced a new list of witnesses that instantly caught everyone's attention. These weren't tabloid reporters or random social media influencers. They were people who had real proximity to Diddy during pivotal years. Former staff members, artists signed to his label, friends who had been to his homes, people who were there. One of those voices belonged to Dawn Richard, a singer known for her role in the girl group Diddy Kane, a group Diddy himself helped launch. Her testimony added another layer of emotional weight to an already overwhelming day. When she exited the courtroom, witnesses said she looked completely emotionally drained. And after hearing what she had to say, it's no surprise. Richard claimed she once saw Diddy completely lose control over something as minor as dinner not being prepared on time. But what she described wasn't just frustration. She alleged that the incident escalated rapidly. According to her, Diddy became physically aggressive with Cassie, shouting and allegedly grabbing a skillet full of food in a threatening manner. When Cassie dropped to the ground, Dawn said she saw Diddy continue the aggressive behavior, dragging her away while chaos erupted throughout the house. That scene, if true, wasn't just about one outburst. It was a terrifying reminder of how power dynamics in celebrity circles can trap victims in silence. Dawn said she didn't intervene. She didn't call police. And the next day, Diddy allegedly made it clear what happened was not to be discussed. There was, she suggested, a culture of fear, a rule of silence. This doesn't just raise questions about Diddy's actions. It raises questions about who knew, who stayed silent, and why. The allegations now go beyond private disputes and into the realm of systemic protection, loyalty through intimidation, and high-profile silence. And that's why this trial isn't just about a celebrity in legal trouble. It's about cracking open a lifestyle and culture that has operated behind closed doors for far too long. With each witness, the wall around this carefully controlled world weakens, and the truth, however uncomfortable, inches closer to the light.
And then I saw sexual acts that I walked in on.
Who'd you walk in on?
Him and Dwayne Martin. Hollywood is the hurry up and weight gain. So I'm running all over the studio. He's not in his dressing room. I go to the cafeteria. I'm like, well, but I see his car there. So I open the door to Dwayne's dressing room, and that's when I see Dwayne and having anal sex with Will. There was a couch, and Will was bent over on the couch, and Dwayne was standing up.
Dawn Richard's courtroom appearance was brief, but unforgettable. A former member of Diddy Kane and once part of Diddy's tight inner circle, she delivered a deeply unsettling account of a moment that allegedly occurred inside Diddy's Los Angeles home in 2009. According to her, the situation escalated quickly and terrifyingly. She recalled Diddy shouting loudly and furiously over something as mundane as dinner not being ready on time. But instead of walking away or expressing irritation verbally, Richard claimed he stormed into the kitchen, grabbed a skillet filled with hot food, and made a threatening move toward Cassie. As the room reportedly grew tense, Cassie collapsed in fear. But even then, the outburst allegedly didn't stop. Dawn testified that Diddy's behavior became more aggressive, dragging Cassie away from the scene in front of others. For Dawn, it wasn't just shocking, it was paralyzing. She admitted she didn't know what to do in that moment. She was scared, not just for Cassie, but for herself. And what happened next chilled the room. She claimed that the very next day, Diddy told her and others not to speak a word about what they had seen. The message was clear: keep quiet or face the consequences. This wasn't just a story of conflict. It was a chilling example of alleged control and fear behind closed doors, where silence seemed to be the unspoken rule. And then came the government's pivot. A Homeland Security agent took the stand. This wasn't entertainment gossip anymore. This was a federal matter. The agent walked jurors through the day of Diddy's arrest at the luxurious Park Hyatt Hotel. Cameras weren't allowed, but the images described painted a vivid picture. Investigators entered his suite, meticulously photographing the rooms and cataloging every item found. While some belongings were expected of a celebrity of his caliber, others reportedly raised questions. Items retrieved suggested the suite may have been used for more than just luxury lodging. These weren't just travel essentials. They hinted at a lifestyle hidden behind the marble and chandeliers. As tension mounted in court, an unexpected and emotional moment unfolded. Diddy's daughters walked silently out of the room. There was no press conference, no dramatic outburst, just a quiet, somber exit. Their pale expressions were enough to tell the media something significant had just happened inside. This silent moment came right after the most intense audio had been played in court, and many believe their reaction was a direct result of what they had heard. And just when observers thought things had hit their peak, the courtroom dropped a name that caused the internet to erupt: Will Smith. This wasn't social media speculation. His name came up directly in court. The moment that happened, fans everywhere scrambled to connect the dots. Old interviews were replayed. Red carpet footage was reanalyzed. Pictures of Will and Diddy, once considered harmless celebrity hangouts, were now under scrutiny. Enter Jaguar Wright, a singer and outspoken critic of the entertainment world's darker side. She resurfaced claims that Will had long been surrounded by young men whose well-being she believed had not been prioritized. She named Basher Gray, August Alsina, even Will's own son. Her tone was one of frustration, hinting that there had been a long-standing effort to avoid addressing certain rumors, or worse, truths. And as if that weren't enough, Will's former assistant added fuel to the blaze. He publicly claimed that he once walked in on Will and actor Dwayne Martin in what he described as a compromising situation. That allegation sent shockwaves across the internet. But the assistant didn't stop there. He stated that Will remained silent while Jada Pinkett Smith took the reins in public, trying to paint him as dishonest. Yet, despite all the public talk, no lawsuit was ever filed against him, something he boldly used as ammunition, daring Jada to take legal action if she truly believed he was lying. In a dramatic twist, he issued a challenge. If legal action didn't happen soon, he said, he would begin releasing personal accounts and behind-the-scenes stories involving Jada, stories allegedly tied to intimate gatherings and private retreats. Meanwhile, comedian Lunel added her own cryptic comments, suggesting that the relationship between Will and Dwayne might have been deeper than most realized. This wasn't just one voice now. It was becoming a chorus. Will's team responded quickly, issuing a firm denial. But it didn't stop the internet from going into full detective mode. Social media was flooded with past clips, paparazzi snaps, and tabloid headlines showing Will and Diddy at multiple events over the years. Evidence that seemed to challenge the idea that there was no connection at all. And just when things couldn't get messier, Meek Mill's name hit the court records. Unlike Will, Meek didn't stay silent. He took to Twitter almost instantly, firing off defensive posts in rapid succession. But the reaction wasn't what he hoped for. Rather than clearing things up, it added fuel to a fire already burning out of control. Clips resurfaced, one showing Meek looking visibly uncomfortable at an elite gathering. Another, more infamous, featured Diddy throwing Meek a poolside birthday bash, where he praised him and called him daddy on camera. The video had been overlooked before. Now, it was going viral again, and not for the reasons Meek wanted. Old tweets and running jokes, once brushed off as harmless, were being revisited through a brand new lens. Even unverified stories about Meek's internet activity started trending, creating a whirlwind of suspicion and speculation that the rapper couldn't seem to shake. At the heart of it all is the courtroom audio. No one outside the trial has heard it. No clips, no leaks, just whispered descriptions from those in the room. Some say it's disturbing. Others say it's career-ending. And what's more frightening? The belief that this audio might involve real people being emotionally or physically harmed, with someone allegedly laughing in the background. Those details have never been confirmed, but the implications alone have sparked a wildfire of online theories. Why hasn't the audio been released? Some say it's to protect the privacy of those involved. Others argue it's being held back because of the explosive consequences it could have, not just for Diddy, but for Hollywood as a whole. And now, people are asking, who else is connected? Names are being thrown around, but one that repeatedly surfaces is T.D. Jakes, the well-known spiritual leader. While there is no direct accusation, speculation swirls about his association with Diddy. Some believe the connection may be more about power and influence than prayer and mentorship. Meanwhile, Capricorn Clark's testimony continued, delving deeper into her experience inside Diddy's orbit. She described being taken to a near-empty building, questioned for hours, and isolated from others. Her words painted a haunting picture of emotional pressure and professional intimidation. She also shared that after trying to move on with her career, she found herself effectively shut out of the industry. According to her, it wasn't just tough luck, it was orchestrated. She alleged Diddy actively blocked opportunities, leaving her feeling like she had no choice but to return to his camp, not out of loyalty, but sheer necessity. During her time on the stand, Diddy was anything but disengaged. Witnesses said he was fully alert, whispering frequently to his legal team. His lawyers were quick to object when testimony painted him in a negative light, often cutting in to question the accuracy of her account. It was clear Diddy wasn't going to let this testimony go unchallenged. Legal expert Brian Buckmeyer emphasized that while many witnesses have added important context, Cassie Ventura remains the trial's central figure. According to government prosecutors, she's the key witness, her statements outlining an alleged pattern of coercion, manipulation, and secretive gatherings involving Diddy and others.
Diddy's assistant now giving us details about what he says were called Wild King Nights.
This morning, new details allegedly inside Diddy's world before his shocking arrest. The entertainment mogul now behind bars for federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges.
It was a circus. He did whatever he wanted, and we were just at his disposal.
Phil Pines was Diddy's senior executive assistant from 2019 to 2021. He says his then boss asked him to purchase supplies for parties dubbed Wild King Nights.
We usually had a laundry list of items that included lights, alcohol, marijuana, ketamine, molly. Those requests started to become more frequent.
Pines claims many of these parties involved younger women.
A lot of times you would have him with a younger female, and there's a power dynamic there. A more impressionable girl is easier to reel in. Consent is between the people that are engaging, and I wasn't there in these situations to understand the consent.
As this story continues to evolve, the internet is only getting more obsessed. Social media investigators are digging deeper. Reddit threads are exploding. TikTok sleuths are connecting dots that journalists haven't even touched yet. And the celebrities caught in the middle? Most of them are staying silent. But as history has shown, silence doesn't stop the truth. Some believe Diddy is already working behind the scenes, possibly trying to scrub evidence, distract the public, or even reach out to individuals who could still testify. But others believe this trial is just the beginning of a much larger exposure, one that could pull the veil off some of Hollywood's most closely guarded secrets. And if those tapes ever see the light of day, this won't just be another tabloid headline. It could become a defining moment in entertainment history, with consequences that stretch far beyond the courtroom. Like the video and hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop.